So, if you've started using Terraform, you already know it's an incredible tool for managing your infrastructure. But the second you bring a teammate into the mix, things can get really messy, really fast. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on one of Terraform's most important teamwork features, remote state. Let's start with a really basic question. What actually happens when you and a coworker both try to run Terraform on the exact same project from your own laptops? It seems like it should just work, right? But the answer is the key to understanding why remote state is an absolute game changer.
And yeah, that brings us right to the heart of the teamwork problem. Or, as I like to think of it, you've got one file, a bunch of people, and a recipe for some big trouble.
So where does all this potential chaos come from? Well, it all boils down to a single critical file. See, by default, every time you run Terraform, it keeps track of your infrastructure's current state in a local file called terraform.tfstate. You can think of this as Terraform's brain, or its memory. And when that memory only lives on your computer, well, you're basically asking for problems.
This analogy really nails it. Imagine you and a teammate are editing the same Word doc, but you don't have Google Docs or a shared drive. You add a new server, and boom, their local state file updates. But at the same time, your teammate changes the server size and their local file updates. Now you're both holding different versions of the truth. The next time either of you runs Terraform apply, you could accidentally destroy the other person's work. It's a total mess.
So how in the world do we fix this? This is where our hero comes in. We need to create a single source of truth, and we do that by introducing remote state.
The idea here is actually super simple. Remote state is just a way of telling Terraform, hey, instead of saving that really important TF state file here on my messy laptop, let's put it somewhere safe that we can all get to. You know, like a shared storage place like an AWS S3 bucket or an Azure storage account. This just moves that single source of truth to a central neutral ground.
And what this really means is that with one shared state file, everybody on the team is working from the exact same playbook. There are no more conflicting versions of reality. What you see is what your teammate sees, period. This is, without a doubt, the foundation of collaborating with Terraform.
So the whole team workflow just becomes cleaner and a lot less stressful. You run Terraform apply, and the changes get saved to that one central spot. Then before your teammate starts their work, Terraform is smart enough to automatically pull down the latest version of that state file. And just like that, everyone is perfectly in sync. It's orderly, it's predictable, and most importantly, it's safe.
Okay, but hang on a second. This is great. It solves one huge problem. But it brings up another one, doesn't it? We have a central file now, but what stops two people from trying to write to it at the exact same moment? This is where we need to talk about preventing those painful collisions.
I mean, it's the next logical question, right? If you and I both type Terraform apply and hit enter within a few seconds of each other, who wins? Do we just end up corrupting the state file and we're back to square one? This is a totally real scenario, and it definitely needs a solution. And the solution has a great name, state locking. Most of the systems you'd use for remote states support this feature, and it pretty much acts like a traffic cop. So, for example, before Terraform even tries to make a change, it first attempts to put a lock on the state file. If it gets the lock, great, it moves ahead. But if that file is already locked by someone else, Terraform just waits patiently for its turn.
Honestly, the best way to think about this is the bathroom lock analogy. It sounds a little silly, but it works perfectly. Think of the state file as a single-person bathroom. If the door is unlocked, vacant, anyone can go in and start their Terraform apply. Once you're in, you lock the door and it's now occupied. Anyone else who comes along sees the lock and has to wait until you're finished. It's a super simple idea that makes sure only one person can make changes at a time. No more collisions.
Okay, I know exactly what some of you might be thinking right now. Whoa, this sounds kind of complicated. Do I really need to set all this up on my first day? And the answer is a big, resounding no. So let's talk about your first steps and give a little reassurance to anyone just getting started. Look, the main thing you need to remember is that if you're just learning Terraform by yourself for a personal project, you do not need to worry about this yet. Remote state is first and foremost a feature for teamwork. Plus, a lot of the modern tools out there like Terraform Cloud or even integrated CI/CD platforms will often handle all of this setup for you automatically. For now, just focus on the fun stuff, mastering the basics of writing your Terraform code. So, if you walk away with just one thing from all this, let it be this thought right here. At its heart, remote state isn't really about complicated back-end configurations. It's about being a good teammate. It's about safety.
It's the simple, elegant mechanism that lets a whole team build amazing things together without constantly stepping on each other's toes.